Good afternoon and happy Monday. Today is Monday, June 26th. I'm coming to you with my trade recap for the day. It was a red day for me today. This is kind of day two of working to get these accounts passed. Let me see if I can find, I know it's here somewhere. There we go. So here's my net for the day. Red all over the place. Down 610 in the $50,000 accounts, except for this guy. Got a different fill, I guess, so he's less red. And down $2,500 in the $300,000 accounts. So not, I mean, those are fairly big losses. However, with my strategy, that's actually not too bad. So let's go through the detail. So I guess where that puts me is really back to zero. I'm down $300. In the $50,000 accounts, I'm right at about break even on the other one. So not a great day. The victory though for today is that I did follow my trade plan for the most part. Really, when I look at trading, you can't judge your success based on whether you're profitable or not day by day. Really, the question is, did you follow your plan? And I feel like today, if I had to grade myself, I'd probably give myself an 8 out of 10. And here's why I would not go 10 out of 10. So my two trades that I take are open range breaks and then tests of the 9 EMA and the 21 SMA off the 5-minute chart, although I'm trading them on a 1-minute chart. And so here's my opening breaks. I had 2 of them fail. And as I got into these, I knew it was a bad idea. And the reason that I knew it was not ideal is pre-market, we had this drop, and then we came up to the top, came up here, retested. So first of all, this would have been the entry, okay? We came back above this 9 EMA, which is a reset for all intents and purposes. We come down below, we retest, and come down, okay? What backs that up is we have a retest of the 21 SMA. So we've got a rejection, a push down, a rejection, and a push down. This should have been my entry right here. So my first mistake was I didn't get the correct entry. Now this was in the opening break or opening 15 minutes of the day. So I think that's why I didn't get in. But I mean, this is really nice price action. I mean, especially this is oil, CL, light crude. That's really nice. So instead it comes down here, and what I've observed is that whenever it's choppy at the opening, at the edge of the range before it pushes through, it's not likely to be as successful. There are times when it works, right? But more often than not, in order for this to be successful, you want what you've got on the opposite side up here where price pushes through, right? We've got pretty decided action. We hesitated here at the SMA, which makes sense. We pushed up, pulled back, tested it, and then just kept on going. This is the price action we're looking for on these opening range breaks. Not this. Instead, I sort of was stubborn, said, well, I take it. And so I had my order sitting here. It popped me down, and then immediately shot back up, hit my stop loss. Then it comes up and it's writing this. This is the 1-minute 9 EMA, 1-minute 9 EMA. It's writing it down. And so I'm thinking, this is almost creating this downward wedge. And that was the rationale I used to put my order back here again and wait for it to break, which it did. It did. Grabbed my order. Boom. Stopped me out for a 10-tick loss. At that point, I was done. I said, I'm going to give myself a break because I don't want to do anything stupid. And I stepped away for a few minutes, and of course I missed this. Now, what I'm a little disappointed I didn't see was it did come up. We come back, we have a test of the opening range. We have a test of the 1-minute 9 EMA. We have a nice pullback and rejection. Early in the days, these 1-minute 9 EMAs can be good indicators. And sure enough, it pulls through here. And this one I watched happen and I almost got into it. But I was still a little gun shy, is what it is. Shot up. Beautiful trade. I mean, that baby went. So the entry would have been the break of this candle, which would have been at 69.56. You held it all the way to the very, very top, which of course you wouldn't, but it was 70.05. 70.05. So what is that? So 50 ticks. It went for 50 ticks. So amazing trade. This is the overnight open line. That's where I would have expected it to go. I would have probably sold once it got there, especially when this guy pulled back to it. So that is what it is. And the rest of the day, oil was, I just didn't trust it. There wasn't any really good price action. It was just kind of bouncing around in here. Let's see. Okay, so after those two losses, I did take this trade, and I had another trade in RTY we'll review here briefly. So here we have, it's been hanging out in this zone. It rejected off, came back in the middle. Now we finally have a separation of the MAs. We got a direction going on. We come above the opening range. We come back for a test. We touch that 9 EMA, the 1 minute 9 EMA as additional support. And I say, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and get in this. I wasn't overly confident, and you can see that by the fact that I only held it from 54 to 59. So I only held it for 5. But once I got in, it really struggled. I mean, it obviously didn't move much, and here we were red, and I just put my sell order there, and I said, well, if it taps the top of this again, I'm just going to get out. What I would be looking for is 20 ticks on this, and it did go that far. So if I got in at 54, I'd be looking for 74, which would have been right. Oh, maybe it didn't get, oh, it did get there. Right there, 74. I would have got my 20 ticks. So I could have made all my money back in that one trade, but it is what it is. After that, again, we're just riding this EMA, and I don't really like that. We do have a push up. We have a push down, a touch of the 5 minute 9 EMA, and it does pull up. Now this one would have worked again. It would have gone your 20. You would have gone in at 79. So you would have been looking for 99. And I think it got there. 8, 9, maybe. No. I mean, eventually it would have, but it got close. It would have been a successful trade, but it was very choppy. Whenever you get around this opening range or this overnight open line, that messes with stuff. You can see it's just choppy. Let's see what else. And then here's another fail. This one, it comes down, it goes sideways, kind of tests this. This isn't good entry criteria. For me at least. It does push down, it comes back up, and I kind of had a little bit of FOMO on this one, and I was thinking, well, if it did push down with some momentum, if it comes back up here, we might be able to get, I was looking for about 10 ticks out of it. It got me in. Immediately it went nowhere, started to pull back. So I went ahead and stopped out for 5 ticks on this one. So another loss, and that was the end of the day for oil for me. I was done with oil. So there were opportunities there, but oil just didn't treat me right today. So it is what it is. RTY helped me out. So on RTY, which its opening range, it just flew up here. I don't think I was watching it this time. Not sure if I would have taken this. I should have, because again, we see the same thing that we saw in oil. We have a break above the opening range. We have a pullback to the opening range in conjunction with the 1 minute 9 EMA, and it pushes up, and I guarantee that went 20. It probably went 30, 54.4 up to 58.7. So it went over 40 ticks on that guy. Okay. I did get a win down here. Once it came back to the 5 minute 9 EMA, on the break of this candle, I got in. That was my entry. We have a touch. And then what I do is I drag that order down 1 tick above the candle that touched. Once that closes, so I'll drop it there as soon as this candle closes. Then I'll wait and see what the next candle does. If it pushes down but doesn't break through that EMA, then I'll move the order to 1 tick above that candle, which in this case was the same spot, which is right here. Got me in. I was, again, a little hesitant, which in this case it worked out for me. So I ended up getting out at 5 and 10. So I got made back a little bit there. But then RTY just started doing the same thing. Everything was just super choppy today. And so it made it really difficult. There were, you really had to wait. This would have been a clean entry, although it didn't go too far. So we have a cross of those EMAs, right? So prices start right here. It's just kind of consolidating, and then we break out higher, and then we break down lower. Now this didn't get lower than like where we were here, but it was lower than the previous pivot low. So that was somewhat of a good sign. It comes up, it touches our EMAs. We see a reversal, and it does pull down. This one could have been, 43.9 down to 41.7. So it's at 41.7 to 43. So that was 20 ticks as well. So that could have been 20 ticks. This one would not have met my entry criteria technically because we had a push up, then we had a pull back, but this one did not go lower. I would have been looking for a lower pullback before we touched it again. It didn't give it to me, so I didn't get in, but this did work, and it swung down quite a ways. So again, the market just wasn't cooperating. Now, if you're waiting for the really good opportunities, they did show up. So here's one. Again, we have a cross, and then price moves up here. We've got a higher pivot. It comes back down. It tests that gold line. And so again, the order would have been sitting one tick above this red candle and would have jumped in here. And in this case, it could have gone from 44.6 up to 47.3. So, another 20 ticks. That would have been 20 more. But I have a very difficult time when it's chopping around like this, waiting for it. It's just messy. And as it's happening, I just have a hard time picking this one out of all the others. It's much easier after the fact. This would have met the criteria. Here is a test of the 21 SMA. It comes down, it touches it, it pulls up. It's choppy, but it works. This is a trade I got. This is a bad trade I got in. So I need to go punish myself for this one, even though it worked. We had this, at the end of the day, this strong downward momentum. We came down, paused, came down, paused, came down. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to jump in at the break of this candle, which I did. And I was only looking for a little bit, so I got 5 ticks out of that one. So very, very small win. And that was RTY. I did have one little trade in ES, I think. Yeah, over here. And this one really didn't work either. So I'm kind of glad I got out of this one. I was looking for a touch of the 9 EMA and a pull down to at least this level, at least our low. Didn't get anywhere close. It did pull up and it eventually came down, but I did get out. I just got out of that one as soon as it started pulling back for a small win. And then let's see if it did anything else for us. No, that was it. So no trades in gold today. Gold was, let's see. Oh, I did want to point out this guy here. So gold was choppy. Whenever we come into the day flat like this and the EMAs are flat, I stay out of gold. I don't touch it. I need to see it moving. So I wasn't even tempted by the open range breakouts. It would have had to have broke the range, came back for some kind of a retest before I would have considered it. But ultimately, if gold just doesn't do its thing in the morning, I'm going to stay out of it. This one though created this kind of nice candle structure. And I see this a lot in gold. You can go back and look at your charts and see if you see the same thing. But oftentimes, if gold picks a direction, it could be a slow grind, but it'll stay on the other side of, on one side or the other of the 9 EMA, and it'll just kind of slowly grind its way down. I mean, you would have had to be super patient on this guy, but I mean, it came down a long ways. And so when it opened up, it held to the top, and then we had a strong push down, and then we have this little bit of consolidation, but you can see we're kind of wedging here. And that's kind of, I drew these for my, to so that I could see what I thought I was looking at. And sure enough, it drops below, breaks out of the opening range, and just trickles down. So I wasn't too interested in it, but that would have been a nice play. Pulling off one side of the range to the other side and breaking through. That would have been a good play. The other thing I notice on gold is it a lot of times does respect these gold lines as well, but it can be pretty choppy getting there. So here's a nice one. We have a pull down lower, a touch, and it drops, but then it just stays flat until it pulls up, pulls back, and drops. And then see, this guy breaks through to the other side, which means there's no trade. And sure enough, it resets, it pulls up here, and then just kind of does nothing the rest of the day. So that's really all I had. That's my recap for today. Hopefully everybody out there had a great day. There were some good opportunities, but you had to be patient for them. You had to work for it today. So that's all I got. Have a good one. We'll talk to you tomorrow.